This is lesson 2 in module 3, solving word problems using area and perimeter formulas. Let's start by making a rectangle using 1-inch squares. So here's a 1-inch square, and that's going to be the width of our rectangle. So we have 1 inch here and 1 inch here. Now, we want the 1 inch to be our width, but we want the length to be 3 times the width. So we need 1, 2, 3 1-inch squares. So here's one more. So together we have 3 inches for the length, 3 times the width. So our length is 3 inches. Our width is 1 inch and our length is 3 inches. Now let's say we want to make another rectangle, but we want the length to be 3 times this rectangle. So we have 3 inches as our length here. So 3 times 3 is 9. So we need 9 this way for our length, and we need 1 times 3 for our width. So we're going to draw 9 squares this way. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 inches this way for our length. And we have 1, 2, 3 inches this way for our width. So 3 times our length of our first rectangle gives us the length of our second rectangle. 3 times the width of our first rectangle gives us our second rectangle. So for this one now, the width is 3 inches and the length is 9 inches. Let's try another problem. Let's say we start with a rectangle and we know that the length of the rectangle, the width of the rectangle is 2 meters. And we want the length to be 3 times the width. So if we have 2 meters and we want it 3 times, 2 times 3 is 6. So our length will be 6 meters. So our width is 2 meters and our length is 6 meters. Let's try another one. Okay, Christine is going to make a mural for her school. It's going to be a rectangular mural. The area of her mural is 18 square meters. And the length is 6 meters. We want to know what the width is. Well, we know from our formula that area is length times width. So we know the area, and we know the length, and we need to know the width. From our multiplication facts, we know that 6 times 3 is 18. So the width of our rectangle has to be 3 meters. Now she's going to make a second mural. This mural is going to have the same length as her first one, but the width is going to be 4 times the width. So here we have a width of 3, and this one's going to be 4 times that. So 3 times 4 is 12. So we know the width of this one is 12 meters. And she wants to know the perimeter of this rectangle. So we know with a rectangle, the opposite sides are the same length. And we can add all the sides together to get the perimeter. So we have 12, and then we have 6, and then we have 12, and then we have 6. And 6 plus 6 is 12. So 12 plus 12 plus 12 equals 36. So our perimeter is 36 meters. Let's try another one. Okay. Sherry has a garden. A rectangular garden. And we know the area of her garden is 8 square meters, and the length is 4 meters. Now, her friend Nancy also has a garden. But Nancy's garden is twice as long and twice as wide as Sherry's. So we want to know what the area and perimeter of both these gardens are. So the first thing we need to figure out is what is the other side of Sherry's garden. We know that the length is 4 and the area is 8. So again, using our formula of area equals length times width. We know the area is 8. We know the length is 4. So we need to figure out the width. So 4 times what equals 8? We know 4 times 2 equals 8, so the width has to be 2. So the width of Sherry's garden is 2 meters. Nancy, we said, the length of her garden is 2 times Sherry's. So we know the length here is 4 meters, so 2 times 4 would be 8 meters. The width is 4 meters. Again, we said it was twice as much, so 2 times 4, 2 times 2 is 4. So these would be the measurements of Nancy's garden. So let's find the perimeter of Nancy's garden. If this side is 8, this side is 8. If this side is 4, that side is also 4. So let's use a different formula. Let's do 2 times length plus width. So 2 times 8 plus 4 is 2 times 12, which is 24 meters. That's the perimeter of Nancy's garden. Let's find the perimeter of Sherry's garden. Let's use yet another one of our formulas, 2L plus 2W. So 2 times the length, 2 times 4, plus the width, 2 times 2, gives us 8 plus 4. So the perimeter of Sherry's garden is 12 meters. In terms of area, we already know what Sherry's is. We're told that it was 8 square meters. Let's find the area of Nancy's. Length times width gives us 32 square meters. Now let's look at the relationship between the measurements of these two gardens. Nancy's length and width were doubled. Let's see what happened to the perimeter. Well, it also doubled. 12 times 2 is 24. So the length and width doubled and the perimeter doubled. But look what happened to the area. This is actually 4 times the area of Sherry's garden. Actually, we could fit 4 of Sherry's gardens inside of Nancy's. So by doubling the length and the width, we quadrupled the area. Let's use this to help us solve some problems in our problem set. Let's look at the first one together. A rectangular porch is 4 feet wide. It is 3 times as long as it is wide. Label the diagram with the dimensions of the porch. So the width, we said, was 4 feet. And we have 4 feet plus 4 feet plus 4 feet. So altogether, when we sum these up, we would have 12 feet as the length. And then to find the perimeter, if this side is 12, this side would also be 12. If this side is 4, this side would also be 4. So we can add together the sides. 12 plus 12 plus 4 plus 4. 12 plus 12 is 24. 4 plus 4 is 8. So altogether, our perimeter is 32 feet. You pause the video and try number 2. Okay, for this one, it tells us to draw the diagram of the banner and label its dimensions. And the banner is a narrow rectangle. It tells us it's 5 inches wide and 6 times as long as it is wide. So 6 times 5 would be 30. So our length would have to be 30 inches. Then it says to find the perimeter and area of the banner. So to find perimeter, we could do 2 times length plus width. So 2 times 35 would give us 70 inches. For the area, we have length times width. So the area would be 30 times 5, which would be 150, and we always do it in square units, so it would be square inches. Okay, pause the video and try number 3. Okay, here we have another rectangular shape, which the area is 32 square centimeters. The length is 7 centimeters. So what's the width? So we ask ourselves, what times 7 would be equal to 42? And we know 7 times 6 is 42. So the width would be 6 centimeters. Now Charlie wants to draw a second rectangle that is the same length but 3 times as wide. Draw and label Charlie's second rectangle. Pause the video and try B. Okay, let's look at Charlie's second rectangle. We know it's the same length, 7 centimeters, but it's 3 times as wide. So we had 6 before. 6 times 3 is 18. So we've drawn and labeled Charlie's second rectangle. Pause the video and do C. Okay, the perimeter of Charlie's second rectangle, we're going to add up the sides. 18 plus 7. This side would also be 18. This side would also be 7. Let's add the first two together. 18 plus 7 would be 25. 25 plus 25 is 50, and our units are centimeters. Let's read number 4 together, and then you can try it. The area of Betsy's rectangular sandbox is 20 square feet. The longer side measures 5 feet. The sandbox at the park is twice as long and twice as wide as Betsy's. For A, you're going to draw and label the diagram of Betsy's sandbox and figure out its perimeter. For B, you're going to draw and label the diagram of the sandbox at the park and find its perimeter. Pause the video and try those two. Okay, let's draw Betsy's sandbox. We know the area is 20 square feet. We know the longer side is 5 feet. So we have to figure out the other side. 5 times what is 20? We know 5 times 4 is 20. So we know the sides here, the perimeter. We can do 2 times the length, 5, plus the width, 4. So 2 times 9, which is 18 feet. Now, the sandbox at the park is twice as long and twice as wide as Betsy's. So if Betsy's is 4 feet wide, then the sandbox is 8 feet wide, 2 times. If the length is 5 feet, then this length has to be twice, which is 10 feet. The perimeter, let's add them together. So we know these opposite sides are the same. So let's use this formula, 8 plus 10 plus 8 plus 10. 10 plus 10 is 20. 8 plus 8 is 16. So together we have 36 feet. Take a minute and answer C. What we see here is the relationship between the two perimeters. The perimeter of the playground in the park is twice the perimeter of Betsy's playground. Now let's take a moment to find the area of the park. Pause the video and try that. Okay, area is length times width. So the area of the sandbox in the park was 10 feet times 8 feet. So we got 80 square feet. If we go back for a moment and look at Betsy's, we see the area of her sandbox was 20 square feet. And now the area of the sandbox at the park is 80 square feet. So let's look at those numbers to answer E. So the sandbox at the park was 80 square feet, and Betsy's sandbox was 20 square feet. So the sandbox at the park is 4 times the area of Betsy's sandbox. Pause the video and take a moment to answer F. Okay, so the perimeter of the two, we said, was 18 and 36 were the perimeters. And 18 times 2 is equal to 36. So the park, the perimeter of the park, sandbox is twice Betsy's. We said the area of Betsy's was 20 square feet, and the area of the park was 80 square feet, and we said that was 4 times. So the area of the park is 4 times the area of Betsy's. So overall, the perimeter doubled, but the area quadrupled. And that's the end of lesson 2.